table and cabinet project part 5-ish. The table is mainly done now, as you can see. I did about 2.5 to 3 layers of paint yesterday. I thinned the paint out a lot, so I was going over and over again, a lot like you would if it was watercolor. It's supposed to have that streaky sort of French farmhouse look to cover up the fact that the veneer was lousy and the table was kind of lousy to begin with. But between every layer, I'd let it dry. It was a hot day yesterday. Thank you, California in May. So it dried quickly, and as soon as some of the paints would peel up, kind of like lint almost, imagine like latex paint lint, I'd use the fine grit sandpaper and I'd sand it down again. So it does have a couple of layers, but it's a nice smooth finish. And I'm probably going to do one more sanding layer and then one more paint layer and call the table done. However, that means it is now time to start going back to the cabinet. Remember the cabinet? I mentioned it yesterday briefly. Well, I started painting it yesterday because I still had some paint in my little cottage cheese container and I didn't want to pour the paint that I'd already dipped my paintbrush in back into the can. So I started painting the top, drawer fronts, and trim of the cabinet. If you notice, I didn't do the sides of the cabinet because I'm actually going to try and do the sides of the cabinet in this cool cork tile I picked up at Rite Aid of all places. I think I can get all the sides of the cabinet done in cork tile. So the front and the trim will be painted white. The cork will be on there to make it practical because it's a freestanding cabinet. And I scored these cool draw pulls off of Etsy. So I'm going to use these nice antique bronze draw pulls I mail ordered off of Etsy from some nice guy in upstate New York who does antique draw pulls. So why not? The cabinet did have draw pulls originally. They were horrible. They were actually just random screws. And the nails were so long that they were sticking through the inside of the drawers. So you'd scratch yourself. So before I did anything with the cabinet last week, and before I even started ordering, the cabinet pulls off of Etsy, I sanded everything down, removed the draw pulls, and yesterday I started painting. And yes, I did the cardboard underneath the cabinet around all the corners so I wouldn't get the floor wet, and I actually ripped up a piece of cardboard that was just the right size of a drawer and held it under each individual drawer as I painted the front, because we're only painting the fronts of the drawers and we don't want the drawers to stick to the side. So I pulled the drawers out erratically, held the cardboard underneath the drawers I started painting, and it worked pretty good so far. Now I'm going to sand the paint down again, probably give it another coat of paint, I'm not sure. Then I'm going to use this cool spray-on adhesive to adhere the cork, which I'm going to cut to size using my X-Acto blade. I will be wearing my mask, my coronavirus mask, whilst using the spray-on adhesive because you can really fry some brain cells with that stuff. And I will be using a basic plastic ruler and a pencil to figure out how to cut the cork tiles to shape so they'll fit into the space. I will also be using the pencil to figure out where to drill the holes on my drawer fronts to put my cool new handles on. We'll see. Maybe it'll look country chic. Maybe it'll end up looking more shabby than chic. I don't know. But it's something to do, and it's a nice day to paint. See you in a couple of hours. Bye.